Welcome everybody to the Orange County Funding Corporation meeting for November 20th, 2024. And the time is now 5:03 p.m. And I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Bill.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Mark Green. Here. Dr. Vincent Odock.
Yeah.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
Susan Walski.
Here.
We have one member absent. Also present are staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Boras. We have Mr. Jose Rojas doing our audio visual. We also have new general counsel here. We'll properly introduce them afterward, but Lino Sharetta and Rudy Zota from Bleakley Platt. We have Mr. Brian Savage, our monitor from Anshin, and we have two guests. We have Mr. Dan Birmingham, our bond counsel, and we have Felicia Kalin from the food bank. How do I say exactly?
Regional Food Bank Hudson
Regional
Valley.
Food Bank.
Yeah, we have a
Got
big
it.
brand, so.
Got it. Terrific. Those are your...
Welcome, everybody. I'd like to note the proper notice for this meeting on page 2 of our packet and move on to the more formal introduction of Bleakley Platt and Smith. And today we have here Lino Scaretta and Rudy Zota from the firm. Would you like to say a couple words?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me and Rudy here and the Bleakley team. My name is Lino Sharetta. I've been practicing for close to 30 years in both the Hudson Valley region and elsewhere. I've been a Rockland County resident, live in Rockland. I've been representing IDAs, municipalities, and developers for close to 30 years. So familiar with this type of law and area, and it's one of the things, one of my passions, really enjoy it. So glad to be on board, looking forward to working with you all.
Likewise, I am a Rockland County resident, approximately 30 years as a member of the bar. I don't have 20 years of experience with the IDAs, only about 7 years at this point, and looking forward to working with you all.
Excellent. Look forward to lots of exciting times ahead, and we'll make a formal motion of the board to confirm your retainer and work with us. So look forward to that. Next item would be the approval of the minutes from October 16th board meeting. Any additions, corrections, comments on those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve by Linda. A second to that motion by Doc Odock. Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Moving on to the committee reports. Finance Committee, please. Mark Green, Chair of the committee.
Certainly. For FC, a very, very quiet month. I really don't have much to add other than, next meeting will be busier because we have CDs coming due. We also have some discussions tonight that might affect how we do finance next month. As far as income goes, as far as expenses, all right in line. Net loss for the month of $11,000. So very quiet month for FC.
Thank you, Mark. Questions for Mark? And we'll discuss in slightly more detail the financials and payables in a moment. Next committee report is Governance Committee. Linda Muller, the chair, please.
Happy to do that. We had, again, a quiet month. We did discuss the bylaws, and the committee has instructed our CEO to have our bylaws reviewed by council to ensure that they're fully compliant, and hopefully we'll have that report back as exponentially as possible.
Questions, comments for Linda on the Governance Committee? Hearing none, and we don't have to take motions on those committee reports?
No.
Moving on to new business, I'd like to discuss the October 2024 financials and the October-November payables kind of as one group and call for one vote here in a few moments. Mark touched upon those. Anything you want to add to those, Mark?
I didn't think so, but now
I'm sorry about that.
Now you've got me nervous, sir.
I'm just following the agenda.
I think you're good.
Yeah, I really don't think there was anything that I missed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And I might note those financials are in the board packet and were sent out previously. So the board had a chance to look at those. Any questions, comments for,
I'll make a motion to
Mark.
approve the minutes, the financials, and the payables.
okay, thank you, Linda. Motion for financials and payables. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
By Susan Wolski, thank you. Other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Excellent. And the appointment, confirmation of Blakely, Platt, and Schmidt as general counsel for the OCFC. I would just like to say, Bill and I went through a process over the last month to explore options. We had a Zoom call, we had an in-person meeting here, which included, where'd Kelly go?
She's hiding in the corner.
Oh, there you are, you're behind Gina, you're usually sitting there, I didn't see you. And Marty, they engaged in some questions as well. And it's Bill and my recommendation to confirm that appointment. We think it's a good fit and would ask for a motion confirming that appointment.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Gino, thank you. Second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Susan, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Moving on to the Food Bank of the Hudson Valley. We have a request for funding related to their new project, which is almost complete in the town of Montgomery, right here in Orange County. Bill?
Yeah, I'll just kick it off. Thank you, Jeff. If you're not aware of it, this is a very important project for the entire region. The food bank, the regional food bank, based out of the headquartered in Latham, in the Albany area, they're just finishing completion of a 40,000 square foot distribution center, which is really going to transform the way that food is distributed throughout the region. I don't want to steal Felicia's thunder, but the project is near completion, but they are looking for some assistance. One way that the entire facility is at risk is if the power goes out. Not so much the regular cooler, but actually frozen, I think they taught us is okay, but you've got everything else that's cooler that could completely be ruined. So they've come to us looking for us to support this project. They've given us a quote that's included in your packets for the generator itself and for the cost to hook it up by Baxter Built in there. So a total request of $308,000.815. But I would love to give Felicia Kalin you were the executive director for the Hudson Valley region?
So I'm actually, the official title is Executive Vice President. Yep. No, but I appreciate the introduction, I guess.
Sure, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say, I appreciate the work that you do with the IDA because now more than ever, jobs are critical in Orange County and Hudson Valley and quality jobs. So I sat on the other side, I worked at an IDA, so I understand the critical work that you do every day and had the privilege of working alongside Jeff Christ as well, your chairman. So Mr. Chairman and members of the board, thank you so much for your consideration for this request. So I just want to talk really briefly about the need and then we can get into the nitty-gritty of the request. So I'm sad to report that food insecurity is on the rise in the Hudson Valley. I think you all feel it when you go to the grocery store and you see the bills continue to increase. A lot of the folks that we serve don't quite meet the SNAP benefit requirements, but they're typically choosing between purchasing medicine or purchasing food. So we really we see a lot of our folks who come in that are, they're working parents, they're just over the threshold, and they're looking for once a month some help. So I just want to kind of destigmatize who we work with. What the food bank does is we gather the food we rescue food from a lot of the retailers like Hannaford and ShopRite. So it's critical that we have our facility so we can bring more food in to push it out. We also work with local farmers. So we actually receive state and federal funding to be able to purchase food. So we're an economic driver in that regard. And then also we supply over 1,000 agencies, food pantries. So if you think of like a food pantry in your church or in your local community, if it's in the Hudson Valley, we probably serve that agency with food and other critical items. So the need is growing. 1 in 7 children are food insecure, so we have a lot of programs in schools, whether it be our backpack program. So we're in a lot of different areas meeting a critical need. So we're excited that this is going to be groundbreaking, need in the community, meeting the need. With this building, we're able to double our capacity. So that is needed now more than ever. So I just want to chat a little bit because I understand the constraints of where you guys are and what you can fund and kind of talk through the nitty-gritty of the request. So this is a $24 million capital project, so it's not insignificant. About half or more of that was funded through state grants, and then the rest of that was raised really in the business community, our capital campaign, some foundations in the Hudson Valley. So we still have a little bit of a gap. For the most part, as you know, construction continues to increase as you go closer to closing, so we're looking to close some of that gap. But if you don't know, we had to invest quite a bit in the infrastructure in this particular location. We had to do gas and electric hookup, water and sewer infrastructure, installation of a water tank in the village of Montgomery. So there was a lot of unforeseen expenses related to this project, as well as road improvements by Chandler Lane. So again, this request, we haven't purchased the generator yet. Our facility in Latham that Bill mentioned actually had the Albany County stepped in and purchased the generator for that facility upstate. So we're hoping that, with this request, you would consider also helping us purchase the generator for our facility here. That'll be in Montgomery. We hope to be up and running soon. By the end of December is the goal. So we haven't purchased the generator yet, but we're certainly hopeful that we'll find a partner to help us make that very large purchase, but a purchase that's critical because we also do in emergency situations, we provide the food and water that's needed. So thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions. And I'm only 4 months into this role, so I learn a lot every day. And just again, appreciate all the work that you do in the business community that's really come along in support of this project and help it really get over the finish line. So thank you guys.
Nish, can I ask you to talk about the job creation that will result from this, as well as the number of volunteers that you need for this facility?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So about 25 to 30 additional quality jobs will be supplied at this location. So we're actually halfway through the hiring process for that already. A lot of these are, in our programs department or volunteer management department. So some high-level office jobs. And then obviously we're a distribution center as well, so we have some of those jobs, but our goal is really to promote within, and we have, a plan, a career path for everybody that comes through the door. So also, the volunteer side of what we do is critical. I think I hear stats that without our volunteers, we're hoping to get 10 to 15,000 a year. We would have to hire an additional 10 people. So if you're a business and you're looking for, ways to get your employees activated or team building, we really house a lot of businesses in North Jersey. They come, they do team management. Hudson Valley, kind of a regional businesses reach out to us already at our Cornwall facility. We see businesses come through every day. And we see it as critical when you're recruiting businesses because we have a beautiful, we will have a beautiful conference facility, and then it's really team building. It's an asset for companies coming into Orange County because they can, they can come and offer that volunteer experience for their employees as well.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, Linda.
So in your request, I see that the total amount of the purchase is $308,815.
Yes.
You're asking us for $250,000 against that bill.
That's correct. So I think the original request was $250,000. We're obviously willing to take the full amount if that's something you're willing to do. But you know, we felt that at least just the generator portion, and I'm not sure what your constraints are as far as labor. 85% of our project was union labor, so that was important to us. So whatever, you know, if you're willing to also do the labor side of it, we'll take that as well, but
So
the original request was 250.
if we do the 250, the project still continues even if not fully funded.
That's correct. We'll work to close the gap with some private donations.
It's
yes.
not closed yet.
It's not closed yet.
Yeah.
It's not closed yet.
But will be.
We hope so. Yes, sir.
Tom?
Just a bit of clarification.
Yes.
Now, delivery center, do you move everything or people pick it up? I mean, you have vehicles that can deliver this or
Yeah.
people pick the stuff up?
That's a great question. So a lot of what we do is picked up by agencies. We also have mass distributions where we go, and senior deliveries where we go actually to the sites to deliver. Part of this capital project was also purchasing 2 trailer, semi trucks that we could actually move product out. Right now, we're in Cornwall, in the village of Cornwall, so we really can't have a lot of larger trucks come through the village. Now we will be in the town of Montgomery, or the village of Montgomery. The trucks won't go through the village, be assured the village of that. But they're able to access Newlytown Road, and we're able to actually, our parking lot's able to receive larger trucks from like USDA product. So typically, agencies will come and pick up from us. There are some that we do mass distributions for the agencies that are further out, where we have a site that we drop off and agencies come. But typically, we're not servicing folks off the street. It's mostly the agencies that we're distributing to, and that they work directly in their communities. Yes.
I describe it as a distribution center for a chain store. And whether it's Walmart or Hannaford's, ShopRite, they all have typically within a 50-mile radius a distribution center that might service 50 or 100 stores. This puts the food bank kind of on the proper scale based on volume and need to really handle tractor trailers, have the floor space to properly store and handle the product. There's freezers, refrigerated storage, dry storage, and a pretty big open area for packaging, grouping stuff for the end user that's going to pick up or get delivered to. And would you just mention the volunteer expectation you have here, the opportunity for volunteers to help with this process?
Absolutely. So as far as sorting product and all of that, so a lot of the food that we rescue from like Hannaford's or ShopRite, we have a lot of, partnerships with those types of store retailers in the Hudson Valley region. They'll kind of give us bulk product that we have to sort through. We have to make sure, that it's all up to code and we're able to safely distribute that out. So our volunteers are critical. They come in and help us sort a lot of the product that comes in. So that frees up our staff to be able to think of, more high-level programmatic problem solving and being out on the ground in the community as well. So we're hoping to double our capacity to bring more volunteers in to help us with all the critical needs. And there's other volunteer opportunities outside of just the sorting as well. I'm happy to chat with you more on all of that. But again, without our volunteers, we couldn't do the critical work that we do. So, yeah.
And you're not talking just 10 or 30 or 50, you're talking...
Like 15 to 20,000 a year, yeah.
Yeah. And more than one shift.
Yes, multiple shifts. We hope to have shifts 7 days a week eventually in the new building.
So it's a pretty demanding circumstance, and I had no idea there were that many volunteers out there, but you have expectation people will volunteer.
Absolutely. And especially being at the critical location that we are, with a lot of the larger businesses around in the town of Montgomery and Middletown, we expect hopefully to partner with a lot of local companies to continue to meet that critical need in our building.
And you mentioned capital campaign, but I served on that Capital Campaign Committee, its work is mostly done. Can I say the number?
Sure.
My understanding is we raised $9.3
Yes.
million. And that's from businesses around, not just Orange County, but the Northeast, the whole Hudson Valley, banks, some private wealthy entities in the Hudson Valley. It was just totally amazing. And a lot of smaller donations that really put the whole piece together. So in my vision, that this is an area the funding court can really help add to this huge positive effort, unfortunately needed in the Hudson Valley. And I definitely support this contribution. Like Linda, on that difference, I know Felicia said it, but it would be my expectation there should be other contributors, even other IDAs in the Hudson Valley, because out of this facility, you're gonna serve 7 counties?
Yeah, 6.
6 counties. So it goes well beyond the Orange County boundaries. With that, I'll be quiet. Any other questions for Felicia? And I would like to entertain approval of that amount. And I think, Mark, because of organizing our finances in the OCFC, we would not be able to pay it until January sometime?
Yeah,
Or is there some option I'm not aware of?
I think he's right.
Yeah, which would, not to be the materialistic jerk in the conversation, I just want to make sure before we all vote that we understand where we are and where we will be. So currently, we have 1.85 million in our funds. From that, we've already made a commitment to the Newburgh professional hockey team and the facility there. So that's 160,000, which would bring us to just under 1.7 million. This commitment would bring us to 1.45 million in our funds.
Could I ask you, Mr. Chair, is that based on the 250 or the larger amount?
That's the 250.
Okay.
Because I would agree, not that, but if this is serving 6 counties, it would be nice if someone else chipped in a little bit and helped over the top,
Exactly.
quite frankly. Because, I think the 250 is still, compared to the other 5 counties, would be a significant contribution. So,
Sure.
so no, that's based on the 250.
And if I could add, they are approaching other counties for help on continuing operating support. So some counties are contributing ongoing, whereas we're looking to make a contribution towards this facility.
So just to finish my thought, I just, so we understand, we'll be at 1.45. There's a fine line, we are here to support the community. We're also not here to run ourselves out of business, because there are more, people who we want to help in the future. But as long as everyone has the facts, then as I've said, 1 vote per person, so.
Mr. Chair, if I may comment?
Yes.
First of all, that's a great price for a generator. I gotta tell you that.
We get a discount.
Second part is, I do know that is a specialty install. And so this board knows that the company that will be installing it will be using local labor for that install.
Good point, thank you. Would anyone care to make a motion to approve a number for the food bank request?
Could I ask if our representative could leave the room while we do this debate?
Absolutely.
Actually, before you do that, can you answer the question? Would you be okay waiting until, if this is something, would you be okay waiting with the commitment until, let's say, January 15th?
That should work, absolutely.
Okay. Then, if we can respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Felicia. Don't go
Thank
too
you.
far.
Don't go far.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, Linda, you do know she can just log on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It makes sense that we just not have a debate in front of her. She can go look outside. I just don't.
Thank you.
Cut off her access to the computer.
No, she's,
Where's that Wi-Fi switch?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a point you wanted to make at this time, or just,
I guess the question is, I know they've asked for $250,000. I understand Mark's concern about what resources are still gonna be left in the account afterwards. Are we comfortable at 250, or is there something lower than that? I don't, that just toss it out.
sure? I would like to do the 250. We had hoped to assist with the infrastructure that she spoke to. And that was a long process, and they couldn't wait for us any longer. And we're trying to do it in conjunction with the Orange County government. And the number we had in mind there was the 250.
we were hoping to match that with the county, to the county's funding.
So, but I open it up to other input.
Is it contingent on them raising the rest of the money? So if they don't get the rest of the money for the generator, they don't get the 250, correct?
If I'm not mistaken, from what I heard, the 250 gets the generator. The rest are the install. So she seemed to answer the question that this is moving forward with the 250.
The install would be by the company that built the facility, so I imagine that they would work with them on that piece. They would have to wait to get paid or something.
That
I did-
proposal is in the back of your
Yes.
hard copy
Yep.
packet too.
And I will mention that I took it upon myself to reach out to the town of Montgomery IDA and just let them know that we got this request. Now, they're a much different scenario, frankly. They have kind of an existential concern for themselves about running out of money. But regardless of, and they've been having those discussions in their live meetings, so it's, they're not talking too much out of school. But they did say that they appreciated that we would be considering this, and that they would look to see if they could make some sort of at least a nominal contribution of, say, between $10,000 and $20,000. So now, at first, I was looking to see if that would chip off our number, but since they have the rest to raise, I think, that goes in that bucket as additional funds that they could raise, additional support locally.
So I was at that site, that refrigerator is bigger than this room.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
A
Much
lot-
bigger.
lot
A lot
bigger,
bigger.
yes.
It might be as big
Mr.
as our
Chairman,
office.
if I could ask a question maybe
Yes.
a little bit different than Linda did. Does anyone agree that we should consider something less than the 250? Is that something that anyone else would like to bring up?
I'm just concerned about our finances here and our responsibility to the organization. Have we talked about any, at least for the OCFC, replenishment? I mean, we haven't really been getting money into this
No,
organization.
Linda and Dan and I have a meeting that we put on the calendar to talk about doing like a road show to promote tax exempt bonds and try and drum up some business there. On the IDA side, we do have pretty good pipeline of some great projects that are waiting in the funnel there. Not as much on OCFC.
Doc?
Yeah, she did mention that other counties are involved, 6 counties. Are we the first stop? This is the first. Are we the very first stop she's making? She's been to other counties.
They have been approaching other counties, as I understand, mostly to gain ongoing support, because they need funding every year in order to keep it moving. So they've gone to mostly the counties. Some have contributed to the capital campaign, but most have been offering ongoing support. So that's what they're going to be doing with the other counties is looking for ongoing annual support.
And the bulk of the overall project has been funded by the New York State government through taxpayer funds, I
Right.
presume. So by default, everybody across the state is helping to pay for this facility. This I consider a rather small but certainly important part of the total picture. But it's been a huge community and statewide effort.
So Mark, I volunteered years ago up at their Cornwall facility.
Oh, really? Yep.
The wheelchairs do that once a year, they
Oh,
go
nice.
up and volunteer. I've also seen the other side, because I do go to church in the inner city of Newburgh,
Mhm.
and the effects of food insecurity on people, and the effects of those people on the labor force. So if we can keep food insecurity down in the county, it does help with the overall working class citizens who, they work every day, but they can't afford to feed themselves. So if you can take that off that table, it gives them a better opportunity to improve their lives.
Are you thinking like I'm not for this?
I didn't say you weren't for it, I'm just saying, I'm giving you some, my background on it and what I see.
Look, this is a sad state of where we are, that we have to have this conversation. And then this young woman had to come here and ask for money. I think this is, we could sit here for hours and talk about a real problem that we're talking about 1 in 7 children in our neighborhoods that aren't eating properly. It's disgusting. But I just, like I said, we're good.
I will entertain any amount that this board proposes, I'll put it to you that way, because to me, any bit can help.
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate for the chair to make a motion.
You're a board member, you can make a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we do the full $250 payable by the end of January 2025 out of the OCFC funds. That's the first one I ever made as chair.
Can we get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Susan. Any other discussion?
Not for mine.
Just, again, I have to agree with Giovanni that we just need to be careful. We have very limited funds, and many requests will come through that will not fit in the IDA's request. Trust me, I understand. I worked in Newburgh, Port Jervis, and Middletown for many years and know what the issues are around food insecurity. I just think there needs to be a balance between what we do and what we have, and that's all.
I have no argument there. I think this is a pretty unique request and a very important need. And we're going to have to say no sometimes.
Just not now.
Just not today.
Just not today.
You got it.
Mr. Chair, I understand completely.
Could I call for a vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let's invite Felicia. Thank you.
It's up to you, Mark.
I'm shivering, I'm twitching right now.
So am I.
At the end of the day, though, we do have to, it's a very fine line between making these decisions that,
Yeah.
versus not making decisions and just saying, no.
I agree.
But we're here for a purpose as well. So I think we have to continue to discuss every single time and have hard conversations.
I agree.
Agreed.
Felicia,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for your
Thank you.
presentation. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering to leave the room.
Sure.
You
absolutely.
can watch online on your way home if you like, or on the live stream maybe tomorrow, but we did approve the $250
Oh, wow.
payable by the end of January, just to give us a little cushion there.
Great.
And we wish you the best of luck with the overall project. Maybe
Thank
the
you.
IDA would like to tour the facility
Yeah.
sometime. It's such an important facility.
I can't, I didn't know we were gonna get the full approval, so thank you so much. And I'm gonna commit to, I'll talk to our CEO as well, but I think it would be, the least that we could do to have some sort of naming right near the generator,
Oh,
just
okay, yeah.
honoring the Orange County IDA so that when everybody comes through our facility, they see that. And we're happy to do anything related to, an announcement for this huge, generous, donation from the Orange County IDA to the regional food bank. So happy to, team up with Bill and definitely get that going. I also want to say we're looking to have a grand opening ceremony December 4th at 1 o'clock, so you're all more than welcome, and you should get more information on that soon. So thank you so much from the Regional Food Bank and from myself, and again, we really appreciate the work that you do every day, and hopefully, 20 years, you erase the need for us.
Yeah,
That's
there
the
you
goal.
go.
But for now, we'll continue the critical work of feeding our neighbors, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Felicia. One comment that I shared with the group, I did reach out to the Town of Montgomery IDA,
Oh,
and they
great.
said they would entertain,
Okay.
obviously a different financial situation, But I would encourage you to actually make a formal ask for the.
That's a
for it as
great
well. I
idea.
can speak to the
All right,
executive
I
director
know
about
those
that.
guys.
You can-
So they're gonna put the IDA on their generator. I guess it's better than the hockey team was gonna put it on the bathrooms.
We're moving
We're
up.
moving on.
IGA
Great.
runs the county, right? Keep us going, so.
That's right.
Good, all right, thank you guys so much. I
Have a
appreciate
good
it.
night,
All right,
Felicia.
thank you, thank you all.
Okay. Anything else for tonight's agenda for OCFC? Not hearing any, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Susan, second to that motion
Second.
by ODOC. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned at 5:39. We'll go on to the next meeting? Okay. I'd like to call to order the Orange County Industrial Development Agency meeting for November 20th, 2024, and the time is 5:39. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Bill to do the roll call, please.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Mark Green. Dr. Vincent Odock.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
Susan Walsky.
Here.
6 of 7 members present. Also for staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, and Marty Barras. Mr. Jose Rojas is handling our audiovisual. We have Dan Birmingham, our bond counsel, Lino Sharetta and Rudy Zoda, our general counsel, Mr. Brian Savage, our New York State monitor, I hope I mentioned him already. And we have 2 guests with us online, Mr. Jonathan Lee and Neil Simzak from SWF Development, aka Sky Harbor Group.
Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. We'll get to you shortly, and right now we'll consider approval of the minutes which the board has had for the last week on the October 16th, 2024 meeting. Additions, corrections, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve by Linda, second to that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Susan. Any other discussion on those minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Just a couple brief comments from me. The chairman's report, and Bill went into some detail reporting the New York State Innovation Summit, which I attended with Bill in Syracuse. It was quite eye-opening, a number of things going on, as you might imagine. But in overview, it's clear New York State is really at the forefront in the United States of supporting innovation, startups. There's so much stuff going on in the medical community. I'm here to talk about aging and working to stop aging, which was beyond my comprehension. One thing that also blew my mind was a startup that had developed a robotic tool to do colonoscopies. Cheaper, less painful, and quicker. So, I'm not gonna be the first one to try it out, but.
But you still gotta drink the nuclear stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Good point. Also, I attended a meeting, mostly in my agricultural role, but that came up last week, and the New York State Comptroller, Thomas DiNapoli, held a meeting in Middletown to speak to rural and agricultural issues, doing quite comprehensive reports. And I have to say, it wasn't my doing, but there was some discussion about attraction of businesses and tax incentives, abatements, which pointed out to me we need to continue a PR, proper communication with our community on what we're doing and what the positive results are. So, and the rural part of this also speaks to housing, unemployment, food insecurity, which we just talked about in our previous OCFC meeting. So that was kind of neat, and I did get to speak with him before the meeting, face to face, to bring up a couple of detailed agricultural concerns. So it's kind of neat that he actually came to Orange County, and the meeting went on for about 2 hours.
Wow.
And he was there in person, didn't take a call or anything else, paid attention, he took notes. So, that's my report. I would certainly encourage you to carefully look at Bill's CEO report. As always, it's very involved with a lot of information. Feel free to follow up with Bill on details. And Bill, maybe do an overview of your report.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but it is pretty in-depth. I sent you a few things under separate cover, just so you have them all. I don't want to bog up the entire packet, but including synopses of those conferences, the New York State Innovation Summit and the IDA Academy that I went to. Terrific. As Jeff said, both were super informative. I got a lot out of it, including that IDA Academy. It's a one-day deal put on by New York State EDC, but every single session was terrific. Really excellent. But I do encourage you to read my report. If you have any questions or want more information, please reach out. Thank you.
Questions for Bill on that report, and we've had that for the last few days as well, and I enjoyed reading it. I want to go back and look at it a little more carefully.
Okay.
Would it be okay if we switch governance and finance around, and then finance can roll right into the financials and payables?
Sure.
So Linda, if that's okay with you,
Absolutely.
your report, please.
Certainly. We had a little bit more conversation about the bylaws and the personnel updates for the handbook. Bylaws, we're going to be working on those internally, and we're going to be looking for some support in review of the personnel policies. They have not been updated since 2020. If anybody remembers what happened in 2020, COVID. So there are some things in the handbook that are related to that experience that we all shared that I don't believe still needs to be in the handbook. So we'll be working on that. Mr. Chair, you did recommend that we look at a policy regarding sexual harassment training for the Board of Directors, which we will be doing and writing a policy for implementation in 2025. Mr. Fioravanti did a UTEP draft review with Attorney Sue Katzoff, and we'll be working on some of that and then bringing it back to the Governance Committee on December 11th. That's my report, sir.
Questions for Linda? Lot going on there, Linda.
Busy.
Thank you for your efforts.
You're welcome.
Mark Green, Finance Committee, please.
Certainly. So again, a fairly quiet month as far as our blocking and tackling numbers go. Expenses were pretty much in line with what we've done. We did have some income. We did have one application. Overall, still, a net loss for the month. But there were other things that we are discussing, and so many things coming to a head that we actually think we might have to meet a little earlier on the Finance Committee in December. One of them being the retirement plan contributions. Part of that is when Linda hit me. And so I will be doing some analysis. I will try and get that out to you all a week before. That way there's plenty of time, and if you need one-on-one discussion to kind of give you some things. But that has to be, we have to make a decision next time we meet, because it has to be done by December 31st. So I will do the best I can to get that for you. May I talk about Paris reporting?
Sure.
We have two situations that we have people that have worked for us and are now coming to us with their poor accounting practices, and asking us to pay bills back to 2021, 2022. And again, Linda being Linda, and thankfully for her being her, she came up with some proper advice on how we're going to try and deal with that, and so we will be able to present that to you all down the road. But at some point, if I may just consolidate, the feeling is that there is some sort of statute of limitations on these things. And so we've asked Bill to go back and push back on those things. And then finally, next month, we'll have to talk about CDs coming due. We have a rather large CD coming due January 12th, so we'll have to make a decision next December, or next meeting rather, I'm sorry, about that. And part of our discussion in the next 45 minutes might have an effect on that. So I believe I covered everything we could. Any questions?
And that includes
Actually,
the,
Mr. Chairman.
Do you have any sense of what we're talking about as far as dollar values for this late accounting request reimbursement?
One of them, I would say both of them. One of them is roughly $9,000, and the other one's roughly $15,000.
About 24.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not, it's not egregious, but there is a fundamental gut issue with we've closed our books, or we've paid for our accountants to close our books, not just last year, the year before, the year before that, it's just it's exceptionally frustrating to have that kind of poor systems in place when we work as hard as we do to try and keep things in line.
So we'll have to absorb some costs too on our end, right?
We will have to absorb some costs, but Bill is going to do his best to mitigate them.
I said, why now? Why 4 years later?
And then just errors on their part, and then finding that they didn't bill for it, so they're trying to make it right.
I mean, look, there is a balance, right? We did receive services, so I understand the, feeling like, we should obligate our to our commitments on that, but at one point, again, we've closed our books, we've done all these things. At some point, is it really our fault that people aren't doing what they should be doing?
Well, Bill, moving forward, is there anything that we could do to tell people or give them notice and say, hey, the end of the year is coming, get all your bills in, or?
Yeah, I think we also have a responsibility to, have oversight over that and make sure that we're not missing anything. We've done it with all our recurring bills, when we don't, some of our media stuff and marketing, we're notifying, look, we need these bills on time. But we haven't done it with attorneys, but apparently we need to.
And that's actually an excellent point. Maybe we put something in, a tickler or something.
Right.
And November 1st, a letter goes out to everybody and saying, if you don't have your year in by X, realize that you are at risk to forfeit any fees you think you've earned.
The other thing, when these bills first came up, and the one being 18 months old, the question was, is there something in the retainer agreement that specifies that they have to be billed monthly? And we don't have that in there now, so that's something else we could do, is modify future agreements to make sure it does say that.
Yep, all invoices should be received within 60 days of
Right.
services provided.
If we don't stipulate that, we should.
By end of quarter or something along that.
Typically, I know, we do 60 days.
Yeah.
so I know the committee's gonna follow through on this and push back some, or Bill is, report to the committee.
Yes, absolutely.
So we do need to take action moving into new business on the October 2024 financials, as well as the October, November payables. I think Mark covered that. If anyone has other questions or care to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to
Approve.
accept those, approve the financials and payables. Second?
I'll second that.
Susan, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And for IDA, I would like to, again, as I did in the OCFC meeting, welcome Blakely, Platt, and Schmidt, namely Lino Scaretta
Thank you again.
and Rudy Zoda. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And as I mentioned previously, we did Bill and I did a vetting, which involved several meetings, and one of them included Kelly and Marty, just for the minutes. We look forward to working with you, and we would need to confirm that appointment by a board vote, if anyone would care to make the motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Giovanni, I'm sorry. Second by, I'm forgetting names all of a sudden. Mark, yeah, troublemaker Mark. Any other, sorry about that. Linda told me to say that.
Oh, boy, talk about getting thrown under the bus.
All
He
in,
he threw you so hard, he got a doll for it.
And he backed it up.
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you, that's funny.
Sky Harbor Group application. Lino, I think you're gonna kick that off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off, but the applicant's on.
Yep.
So- But this is, in essence, an application from SWF Development, also known as Sky Harbor Group. They are looking for both sales tax and mortgage recording tax exemption for this project, which is an expansion of their facility at Stewart Airport. So I will let the applicant delve in further to that, and I understand they're on Zoom.
Yeah, John
Hey everyone,
O'Neill,
appreciate you
floor is
guys
yours,
allowing
thanks.
us to be here today and appreciate your time. I'll just do a quick introduction. I'll allow Neil to do the same. My name is Jonathan Lee. I compiled the application, spent 8 years in the United States Army in the past, and I'm currently an associate at Sky Harbor. I'll hand it over to Neil for a quick intro.
Hey everyone, my name is Neil Simzak, Vice President of Real Estate at Sky Harbor Group, currently publicly traded on New York Stock Exchange. We've been working with the Port Authority to make this development a reality at Stewart International Airport since 2020. So excited to be here, and I'll hand it back over to Jonathan to run you through the details.
I really appreciate everyone's time today again. Here's a look at our potential campus on Stewart Airport. It's not necessarily expansion, it's going to be a ground-up development. A few key facts and figures. It's a huge airport infrastructure project, 250,000 square feet. Really has the potential to make Stewart an economic driver for the community. Includes an off-site fuel farm, energy efficient, solar power, adjacent parking and apron. As Neil said, the ground lease is still under negotiation. A couple of highlights, and you can kind of see what it potentially might look like in that bottom photo. 120 plus construction jobs, about $109 million capital investment in the airport, very serious investment there. 100 plus aviation jobs. Each of the aircraft that will be housed there comes with a number of different jobs, for the local community. Additionally, we typically run an academy called the Sky Harbor Academy, where we train individuals on aviation-related jobs, high-paying aviation-related jobs, free of charge. And we partnered with the Red Tail Flight Academy, which is a branch of Tuskegee Airmen. And Neil can probably attest to this. I mean, he was just at a conference kind of talking a little bit about this, but we are also in early discussions with electric aviation, eVTOL providers such as Joby and Archer, about the potential for some infrastructure there to include charging stations and an MRO even. Those are all within the realm of possibility. Early stages at this time, and I'll allow Neil to say a little bit more about that, given that he's just kind of come off that.
Yeah, I think that was a good summary. Just to expand a little bit more on what we see at Stewart. Right now, there's just a lack of hangar space for business aircraft in the New York area, and a lot of them have expressed to us that they need a better basing solution as it's more congested, being further south. So we're in talks with a lot of aircraft owners and operators that want to be based up at Stewart. And like Jonathan mentioned, every aircraft that bases up there brings about 5 to 7 jobs, whether it be pilots, co-pilots, schedulers, dispatchers, flight departments, maintenance teams, etc. So we see this being a great financial engine for the community. The other element on the Red Tail Flight Academy is we're going to have an aviation discovery and training classroom. They're currently at the airport in sort of just kind of a side office at one of the buildings, but we're going to give them dedicated hangar space. They're going to look to expand their training operations. They have about 2 aircraft now and want to expand that to maybe close to 10 here in the future. So it'll just be a great kind of launch pad for them as they expand their operations. So the thing I will mention, the reason why we're talking to you is just that it's very expensive. We started talking about this project with the Port Authority in 2020, when really the cost of this was almost half, probably 50 to 60% of the original cost. And everything's gone up since COVID. And the thing that's particularly challenging with this site is that there's really no infrastructure that supports it. So we're gonna have to bring water, power. We're gonna have to build taxiways. we're gonna have to come up with our stormwater master plan that's gonna drain to the north, as well as putting in lift stations. So it makes the site very challenging, and it makes the economics very tight. And so that's really one of the reasons why we're talking with you all today to help make this project a reality. So that's just a quick summary. Standing by for your questions.
And I would point out, this is an introduction of the project to the board, and Lino's gonna tee us up to induce and start the process in a moment. Could we take just a couple questions, General?
Sure.
One high-level question I had, where geographically is this proposed on the airport? I'm a pilot and I'm familiar with the airport. I can't quite tell from your pictures.
Yeah, John, can you grab Google Earth and we can maybe just do a bird's eye zoom real quick. While John's doing that, I'll explain. It's on the north side of the airport. You know, the Atlantic hangar. I think it used to be the GE hangar,
Right.
where the North Farm is. You know that there's a gate to access the cargo ramp on the north side.
By
there's
the
a-
tower?
Yeah, it's not in the tower. It's actually on the other side. It's like a horseshoe shaped area
Okay.
that is alongside. It's cargo road that's running.
Oh.
behind it.
So up
By
towards
FedEx?
84, up by 84, so it must be up by 84.
I think northwest part. So if you come off 84, 17K and then take that side road,
Yeah, that's right. Let's see if we
Behind
can.
A&G?
I just want to make sure everybody's clear
The
on
National
that.
Guard?
We can.
No.
No.
You got it up,
Across
Josh.
from
The
like
other-
Toyota, that area.
yeah.
Exactly. Closer to the old exit 6 off 84.
Oh,
By the
okay.
hotel there.
Yeah, okay,
Here we
go.
go, great.
Okay.
That's good.
You see the two roads are kind of, one road is the airport service road that skirts in closer to the kind of taxiway,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, they're right where the cursor
Oh, wow,
is.
yeah,
Okay.
now I know.
Yeah, so it's pretty raw land, which makes it challenging, but, we think the Port Authority agrees, we agree, we think it's the highest and best use of this parcel for aircraft storage.
And that's really separate from the commercial airliner terminal completely,
Yeah, correct,
other side of the airport.
Yeah, zoom out again, John, please.
I give
Yeah, and
everybody a
that's-
picture,
Yeah, I know where it is.
that helps.
Yep.
Lino, I think you
Yeah,
had a
no, just
question.
a question. You're still negotiating the ground lease for this?
That's correct, yes.
And where are you in terms of the entitlement process, in terms of the approval? So you just starting, or where are you at that point?
Are you talking about environmental, building permits, et cetera?
Building, yeah, permits, like where are you? I mean, I know you can negotiate the ground lease, but what's your, I guess, time frame in terms of getting those entitlements for the buildings and what have you?
Yes, so we are, we anticipate we'll sign the ground lease in Q1, once we get a full view of the financial picture. And then at that point, they'll start allowing us to do environmental diligence on the site, geotech borings, stormwater review survey, et cetera. They are making us go through, well, the FAA came down and made a determination that this has to be a full EA. John, you can probably stop sharing. You just have to be a full environmental assessment, which can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months
Wow,
for FAA. Yeah, it's pretty lengthy and
Yeah.
costly, because there's going to be some mitigation, offsite mitigation that we're going to have to do so that it's a 1-for-1. So, we're unfortunately, we're farther away from building permits than we'd like to be. But let's say it takes 12 months for the EA. That puts us in Q1 of 2026 to get approval, break ground in mid-2026, and we'll get it done by 2027, probably mid to late 2027. We could be a full year earlier though if that EA was faster. So that's a limiting factor.
so that's a pause deck then, right? Is that what
Yeah.
that?
What's that?
I don't, they're not, do you know if it's gonna be a type, are they making you do a full-blown EIS or no? Or just I see you submitted an EAF to us, but is the agency there making you do a full environmental assessment impact statement or no?
They haven't gotten to that level of detail, but they're telling us it's going to be a full EA. So in the past, we have seen that requires an EIS.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's gonna take
Yeah.
quite some time.
Can I ask some
Mark,
questions?
yes, please.
So I have a bunch.
Okay.
Have you done this project at any other airports that you can mention?
Yeah, so currently this would be our 14th location. We're active in Houston, Texas, Nashville,
Which Houston airport?
Sugarland, SGR. We're active, we did this in Nashville International, BNA, Miami, Opa-locka, and then San Jose International Airport, we have an active campus as well. And then we're in development in Chicago, Poughkeepsie, Orlando International. We're gonna open in Denver, Phoenix, and Dallas in Q1 of next year. So yeah, we're very confident builders. We've done this everywhere, and a lot of demand for this kind of. We call ourselves the aviation's home base. Whereas like in Atlantic or Signature is an FBO, you think of them as supporting transient aircraft. Our aircraft all live in the hangar, which means they bring the jobs, they bring the economic development activity, and it also brings the opportunity for businesses to base there that otherwise, maybe choose out of state.
So would this be on the same thought process as like a Teterboro, a Morristown, even like a Westchester? Is that what, like Teterboro, like when I think of, I'm trying to equate this, like I think of Teterboro Airport. Is your argument that those facilities are, reaching capacity, so, they're looking for alternatives?
Right. A lot of aircraft live on the ramp outside of hangars at those airports, and so it's becoming an overflow situation. So those aircraft are looking for homes, and we've identified Stewart as a high potential home base for those aircraft.
All right, so
That's
is your thought that this is just to house aircraft, or would there be actual, use of the aircraft, using Stewart as a home base for this as well?
Oh yeah, this will be the home base of these aircraft. We're going to be building 20,000 to 40,000 square foot hangars for these aircraft. They're going to use it. They're going to be based there. It's not for random aircraft that are coming from some other state to just come in for a day or two or a week and then depart out. These aircraft will be based full time at Stewart.
And when you say, local aviation jobs, you mentioned your training center. Would that be an import of people coming here, or would there be actual opportunities for people here to learn and be a part of that?
Right, so we've talked to Orange County Community College, SUNY Orange, as well as Dutchess, and we target career transitioners. We work with the local community colleges to identify high potential candidates, typically from diverse backgrounds, and we do a 4-month training program where we give them native certifications to become a line service technician in aviation. At the end of that, they get paid a stipend. We support transportation. At the end of that certification process, they'll get interviewed by us for a full-time job. We will also help them get jobs with some of our tenants, as well as the airlines and some of the local FBOs. So it's really a workforce development program. We call it the Sky Harbor Academy. So that would be looking for people in the community. It's not like we're importing people from outside of the community. We'd be looking for people in the community to give them that training.
One more question, sir.
Sure.
So, you're looking to us to help you out. You're building these beautiful facilities. Our mandate as far as local labor. In your experiences at other airports that you've built, do you have anything that you plan on building that you would have to come to us and say local labor wouldn't suffice to build something out in your facility?
Specialty.
You know, something that would be a specialty that you would want some sort of variance on.
So we actually manufacture our own steel components in Dallas, and those get shipped to our sites, to all of our sites. So I don't know, John, did we mention that in the application? It's just that manufacturing component that we specifically call out. But in terms of erecting the steel, doing the site work, the plan right now is to use all local labor.
We've spoken about that, and that is one of the challenges, is finding that local labor to put that pre-engineered metal building up, and that might be the only exception, just given the significant challenges with finding that specific labor. We've had some struggles in the past with timelines and cost overruns, so that would be the only potential issue unless we could find something local.
Right, is that you're talking about time, you know, so if we have local labor that has the time to work on your facility, are you saying that there would be some sort of expertise or training that would eliminate our ability to use local labor?
If you guys had the expertise, we would 100%, it would be local labor.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a barrier that's too high.
It's not, no.
All right, we're quibbling over expertise. That could be used in many different ways. Can our unionized steel workers do what you need them to do?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just want to be clear, the fabrication of the steel is in Texas, but the actual construction of it will be done here in Orange County, hopefully, using local labor. It's just the fabrication that's off-site.
Right, that's correct.
All right.
That's correct.
Should we have Lino brief us on the inducement resolution?
Sure. So what you have tonight, assuming the board is on board with this project, you have an inducement resolution, which in essence confirms what they are requesting for in terms of certain abatements and mortgage and sales tax. This inducement is good for up to 1 year, but what this allows the IDA to do, the next step will be, once you pass on the inducement, will be to hold a public hearing on this, and then ultimately, once that happens, they will come back for what's called, what we do, a final authorization, and that final authorization will allow us to close the project. So the first step is the inducement, and that's what we prepared for you tonight, is an inducement resolution.
That summarizes it quite nicely. Questions? The public hearing date will be determined at a later
At a later
point.
date, correct.
Yeah,
We'll work with the applicant on that.
yes.
And there'll be notice, just like any other public hearing, but we'll work with Bill and the applicant to set that date. But this inducement authorizes the public hearing to be had.
It sounds somewhat likely we'll need more than a year.
Yeah, and that's also at the discretion of the IDA. It says it
Okay.
expires, so if you deem this to be expired, it will expire. But again, the applicant, and as I've seen in other situations, they can come back and say, listen, we're still not there yet. That's why I asked about the entitlements earlier, because it's probably going to take you some time. So you can come back and say, listen, we know we were induced, we need some more time. And usually that would require notice to the IDA, a letter to us, just to say, look, you need more time, we're still on board to do this project, so that way we hold off on the final authorization until you're ready to come in.
Because that requires the completion of the environmental
You got the
review.
environmental, you got to get your approvals, so it's gonna take a little time. And I'm assuming you're gonna need all these sales tax, obviously, when you're ready for construction, so.
Right.
Susan?
The question I have is your, do you only have to go through the environmental through Stewart Airport, or do you have to go through the town of New Windsor as well?
So everything runs through the Port Authority.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think
Authority
they
property.
don't, I think they have jurisdiction.
They have jurisdiction, yeah, they're lead agency.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Again,
that's
this is
it.
not my wheelhouse, I'll be the first to admit, I know nothing about aviation other than where's my seat.
So this resolution basically authorizes us to move ahead and entertain this application.
Correct.
With all the steps.
Again, there'll be a second portion to that.
And Bill suggested we do a roll call vote after we have a motion
I'll
and a
make the
second.
motion.
Motion by Giovanna. Second,
I'll
Susan,
second
thank
it.
you. And a roll call vote, please, Bill.
Jeffrey Christ,
I'm in favor?
Mark Green,
Yes.
Dr. Vincent Odock,
Present. Yes.
Giovanni Palladino,
Yes.
Linda Muller,
Yes.
and Susan Wolski.
Yes.
Motion carried,
Motion carried.
6 in favor, 1 absence, nobody opposed.
Interesting to see what the public says.
Yes, yep. Anything else on this item.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, gentlemen, Neil and Jonathan, for being with us.
We'll be in touch.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you,
Exciting,
appreciate you.
exciting project.
Absolutely.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Linda, you'll have a place to park your plane now.
Yeah.
I've got my second plan in the south.
Oh.
So moving on to our next item is to consider accepting the EPA Brownfield grant. And Bill has an update for us.
Yeah, this is a grant that I notified you when we applied, I notified when we were awarded the grant, and I just need your authorization to actually accept it. It's a $500,000 brownfield assessment grant that allow us to identify properties in Port Jervis and other places we've targeted. To me, it's perfectly dovetails with our shovel-ready initiative. These are vital properties that are a lot of people shy away from. So being able to assess what the contamination is on these sites is critical, and it really can open up other sites to our shovel-ready repertoire. So just looking for your authorization so that we can accept.
And this was included in your packet.
Yep.
It was under the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, a few pages. So questions, comments, motion to
I'll make a motion to approve.
authorize. Okay, by Giovanni, second by Mark. Any other discussion? We can do just a general vote.
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried 6-0, one absence.
And then if I could add, the next item on here is one of the requirements that came out after we applied was the EPA saying, you have to have a policy in place to work with people with limited English proficiency. So I was not familiar with this, but I did some research. I found a sample policy that we proposed for you. And I know Linda Muller, for example, has worked with her agency, has worked with these types of services. Brian, our monitor, has suggested a couple opportunities, and it sounds like it's a resource that you only pay as you use it. It doesn't have to be very costly. I frankly don't anticipate us using it. We're very lucky that we have Marty as a bilingual staff member here, Spanish speaker. I think that's where most of the opportunities would come. Otherwise, if it's an Arabic speaker or whatever it might be, we pay for someone on the site, on the spot there. And also, if we want to rescind this policy when we're done with the grant, we can do that as well. But I'm hoping that you support this because we're stuck in neutral if we don't have this policy in place.
It's probably not crazy to keep it going forward considering the world is changing.
It's true.
If we want to be global, we should act that way.
Yeah, good point. Any other discussion, questions, motion to approve,
I'll make a
adopt?
motion to approve the policy.
Thank you, Linda. Second to that motion, Mark, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thanks very much.
And your last item is the communications assistant job description.
Yes, thank you. You've approved the formation of this position. You've approved the funding it in the budget. Now I just wanted to get your blessing on the actual job description, since you've blessed and approved my description, and as well as Marty's and Kelly's recently. So I thought it was only right that you review it and you bless it as well.
It looked to me to be quite inclusive, a lot of flexibility.
Yes.
I'm good with it. Other comments, questions?
Looks good to me.
Anybody care to make a motion to approve that job description?
Make a motion.
By Doc Odock, thank you. Second to that motion.
A second.
Thank you, Susan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Yes. Thanks very much.
And I did have a message from our formal counselor earlier. And since we didn't need her to be here, she did attend the governance committee meeting by Zoom. But she wanted me to express her sincere thank you for the time that we had her. And she didn't want us to feel like she was just taking off and leaving us in a bad spot. She did give Bill and I some notice. And her Syracuse city job is demanding more time. And she just felt that she had to focus on that. And she felt bad about leaving us, but she does send her thank you for that time. And I'll return that thank you. I think you got
Exactly, I was gonna say we already have, but she served us well, so it's mutual.
It's good that we're more local now.
That's one of our objectives.
There is some benefits to that, and
Well, you can understand the accent.
Local, but not too local.
That's right.
Anything
You
else
can take the kid
for,
to Yonkers, but you can't take Yonkers out of the kids.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
anything else for today's meeting? Motion to approve, adjourn, yeah, getting on a broken record there. That motion, anybody?
I'll make-
Thank you, Mark, second by Giovanni, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, and the time is now 6:18, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, appreciate it, good job.